Thank you. It's going to be great. And I thank you very much for the opportunity and for being a legislator who cares about promoting literacy and cultural awareness at this time.
Now, that's all I stay up nights thinking about is how we can make this country and this world a better place. And it all starts with simple things like you have in your book, which teaches us life's lessons from the smallest of ages to grown-up adults. So
absolutely. We need these lessons in our lives.
So, Crystal and Lauren, are we ready to begin?
We are ready to begin.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us in this very, very exciting program. Tonight we have Pajamas and Popcorn with a very, very esteemed, famous author, Yawson here, and she's with us today to read a story, her own book, which is rather impressive. I've read it myself, and it is just wonderful. So before we begin, though, I have certain people I need to thank. I want to thank our partners in this webinar, the Huntington Arts Council, Hicksville Congress of Teachers, Hicksville Public Library, the Long Island Pajama Program, and the Sid Jacobson JCC for their partnership and support. I also want to thank the Syosset Public Library, the Plainview Old Bethpage Chamber of Commerce, Syosset Woodbury Chamber of Commerce, and the Roslyn Chamber of Commerce for their promotion of this event. I would also like to introduce and welcome Shari Caradonna of the Long Island Pajama Program, who will talk briefly about her volunteer work within the organization. Shari, are you with us? Shari, are you with us? Crystal, Lauren, do we have Shari with us?
She's getting one. There you go. She should be on in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Unmute. Okay. And start video. There we go.
There we go. Hi, Shari. How you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So you're on.
I'm on. Okay. Well, hi, everyone. I just want to tell you a little bit about the Pajama Program. We're a nonprofit organization, and our mission and goal is to promote literacy amongst at-risk children. We would like to have them have a great bedtime routine every night, if possible, to set them up for a lovely day the next day. So we take donations of brand new books and brand new pajamas. Obviously, at the moment, we are accepting financial donations because we haven't been able to do our usual collections. But we reach out and do reading parties in like a Head Start programs and maybe some of the shelters on Long Island. We service all of Long Island. So we also ask for volunteers that might want to read to young children. I myself volunteer on the Front Street Elementary School in Hempstead, and I do a reading program with the 4th graders there. I've been there about 6 years, and it's amazing. So yeah, that's a little bit about, what we do and different opportunities that we have for volunteers, and it's an absolutely fabulous program. I'm really proud to be part of it.
Well, thank you so much, Shari. I appreciate that. Lauren, Crystal, I'm supposed to have a slide I'm supposed to read?
Yep, right here. Hold on one sec.
Okay, so this project is made possible with funds from the Decentralization Program, a re-grant program of the New York State Council on the Arts, with the support of Governor Andrew M. Cuomo and the New York State Legislature, and administered by the Huntington Arts Council. So before Amma reads us her book, which I can't wait for, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Amma. So Amma Karikari Yawson, Esquire, she's an Esquire like myself, is the founder of Miles Tales Publishing and Education Consulting and the author of The Talk, A Black Family's Conversation about Racism and Police Brutality. She's also the author of Sunne's Gift and other best-selling books. Her unique understanding of social issues, business, and law has enabled her to become a relevant voice on issues as varied as race relations, women's issues, dating, parenting, self-love, hair bullying, and entrepreneurship. Her articles have been published in MSNBC's The Griot, The Huffington Post, The Atlantic, Madame Noir, and other publications. Ms. Yawson has also appeared on The Today Show, Al Jazeera's The Stream, The Nate Berkus Show, and Fox Business. Additionally, she is a celebrated radio personality who can be heard on WBAI in New York on 99.5 FM Pacifica Radio as she broadcasts her weekly show, How to Make It in the City. Through her company, Miles Tales, Ms. Yawson, along with her team of thought leaders and artists, facilitate life-changing diversity and inclusion training sessions that incorporate legal analysis, storytelling, drama, dance, history, cutting-edge psychological research, mindfulness, and restorative justice circles. The sessions engage participants and organizations and truly propel them toward their goal of fostering a more equitable, cohesive, and productive work environment. Additionally, these programs may be customized to include diversity issues such as race, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, political affiliation, and ability. Ms. Yawson earned a BA from Harvard University, an MBA from the Wharton School, and a JD from the University of Pennsylvania Law School. Wow, I don't think I have ever read credentials and a bio as impressive as that, and I've read a lot of them in my life. So I am proud to have you. Thank you so much for joining us, Amma. We are all lucky to hear you and have you in person, semi in person. So with that, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Amma, to share with us your unique and special talents.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful to all of the organizers of this event, including legislator Arnie Drucker, as well as the Huntington Arts Council. I think that this is a fantastic event in which we are celebrating literacy and celebrating diversity. And so I'm very grateful. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to share the book now, the ebook, so that you'll be able to see the beautiful pictures as I perform. So the name of the book is Sunne's Gift, How Sunne Overcame Bullying to Reclaim the Gift. And it is a book that is very special and dear to my heart because it is my first book. And if I were in person, I wouldn't be sitting down, I would be standing up. I love performing this. I'm a performance storyteller. So I memorize the story, I dance with this story, I go up to audience members, but in the virtual realm, I will have to do it a little bit differently, but I hope that you will certainly enjoy it. So in the tradition of the Akan people of Ghana, West Africa, which is the people that my parents come from, that is my culture. The way you spell it is AKN, the Akan people of Ghana, West Africa. There's a tradition of storytelling. And the important thing for you to realize about the tradition of storytelling is that it's not a passive experience, right? So some of you may think, I'm just going to read this to you and you're just going to sit down and listen to me. No way. It is not a passive experience. This is an interactive experience. So even the way we begin the story is not just, I'm going to begin and start reading. We are going to start with a call and response. And this call and response is from the Akan people in West Africa. And the call is, I'll go. I'll go means, hey, are you there? Are you with me? And your response is, I may. You're saying, yes, you are with me. And this call and response precedes storytelling. It precedes all of the ceremonies. Like, for example, there are naming ceremonies for a child to welcome the child in the community. I'll go and I may is said at those naming ceremonies. I'll go and I may is said at wedding ceremonies. So this is a very, very important tool. And the way the tradition goes, when someone says I'll go, after the I may, it should be so silent, we can hear a pin drop. So I'm going to say I'll go. You say I may. We're going to do that twice. Then we're gonna have a moment of silence and I'm gonna begin the story. So quiz, I say I'll go, what do you say? Ame. Okay, great. Many of you may be on mute, but I'm going to believe that I heard the Ame. I say I'll go. What do you say from there? Ame. Twice, and the moment of silence, and we are going to begin the story. I'll go.
Ame.
I'll go.
Ame.
Now our moment of silence. In the beginning, the planet of Yawson was not as it is today. There was no sun to bring forth warmth or light. There was no earth from which fruits, trees, or vegetables could grow. There was no water to quench the thirst of the living, and there was no wind to transport seeds or cause a refreshing breeze. Now, the creator of the planet, Yawson, was named Niami. And Niami became very bored with the boring planet. So in an instant, and with just a thought, Niami brought forth the sun, the earth, the water, and the wind, and everyone. It was beautiful. Oh, lush vegetation was growing from the brilliant earth. And the sounds of water flowing and breezes blowing created a beautiful melody. It was good. So good, Niami said, I'm going to make children to help me take care of this world. So in an instant, and with just a thought, Niami created 4 children. They were magical beings called Magbies. Their names were Sunne, Earthe, Watre, and Winde. Niami began to address the Magbies. So Niami first says, Sunne, you are imbued with the power of the sun. For this reason, your skin is sun-dark and red, and your hair grows in spirally twist toward the sun. Sunne, take care of yourself, because the power of the sun dwells within you. The next child was Earthe. And so Niami says to Earthe, Earthe, you are imbued with the power of the earth. For this reason, your skin is brown, and your straight hair grows down to the soil. Earthe, take care of yourself, because the power of the earth is within you. And the next child was Watre. Oh, Niami said to Watre, Watre, you are imbued with the power of water. For this reason, your skin is a translucent green, and your straight hair flows down your back like water. Take care of yourself, because the power of water is within you. And then the last child was Winde. And Niami said, Winde, you are imbued with the power of the wind. For this reason, your skin is gray, and your straight hair moves with the breeze. Take care of yourself, because the power of the wind is within you. Niami then said, you are all my children, made in my image. Love one another and treasure each other's gift. Goodbye, and I love you all. So Niami's voice faded as Niami went off to create other universes. And the 4 Magbies were very, very responsible, okay? They would do dances to make the sun rise and set, to put nutrients into the soil, to make it rain, and to make the wind blow. And as they would dance, they would sing this song. Repeat after me. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Another time. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Let me hear you. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Excellent. So now Sunne had to do a rave dance every morning and evening to make the sun rise and set. We're going to sing the song 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. One more time. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. And now the next child was Earthe. And by doing hip circles, Earthe was able to put nutrients into the soil. So everyone, dance with me, okay? Earthe would do these hip circles to put nutrients into the soil. You ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. One more time. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Excellent. The next child was Wartre. And when the soil became dry, Wartre had to do finger jiggles to summon the rain. You're going to sing with me? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. One more time. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Let's do it again. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Excellent. Now, wind day blew out gaseous gusts of air that carried seeds to new places. So now we're going to do that dance. You're going to sing 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Let's go. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Bunga alafia, ashe, ashe. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So now in their spare time, the Magbies would climb trees, right? They played hide and seek. They would also sing this song. Repeat after me. Prim pranana, prim pranana, prim pranana, prim pranana. We are having so much fun. We are having so much fun. Prim pranana, prim pranana, prim pranana, prim pranana. Taking care of the world, taking care of the world for everyone, for everyone. But then one day, the 4 Magbies traveled to a river and they looked at their reflections. For the first time, it occurred to them that Sunne, the sun child, looked different. You see, Earthay, Winday, and Wartre all had hair that lay flat and grew downward, but Sunne's hair stood tall. So at first, Earthay was confused about the difference and asked, why did Niami give you different hair? Winday wanted special hair too. So jealously, Winday blurted, Sunne, your hair is ugly. Your spirally twists look absolutely ridiculous. Now, Wartre thought that Sunne's hair was beautiful, but did not want to feel left out. So Wartre said, yeah, Sunne, your hair is really weird. Sunne's heart sank. Tears formed in Sunne's eyes. Sunne didn't want to be different, ugly, ridiculous, or weird. So Sunne picked up a stick and began to beat every spiral of hair to make it straight. And with each slap, Sunne's head ached. But Sunne continued as the other Magby said, you must. It's worth the fuss. Soon you will look like the rest of us. But when the last spiral of Sunne's hair became straight, all of Sunne's hair fell out. The sun disappeared. Darkness descended upon the land. Sunne, Earthay, Wartre, and Winday looked at each other in horror. Sunne did the wave dance to try to get the sun back. Funga alafia, ashe, ashe. Funga alafia, ashe, ashe. But guess what? The sun did not come back. So then Earthay, Wartre, and Winday tried. Funga, slang, funga, shay, funga, 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 shay, shay. They didn't even know what they were doing. And guess what? The sun did not come back. At that moment, the words of Niami came to them. Sunne, you are imbued with the power of the sun. For this reason, your skin is sun-darkened red and your hair grows and spirally twists toward the sun. Take care of yourself because the sun dwells within you. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. By destroying Sunne's gift of spirally hair, they had destroyed Sunne's power of the sun. The silver glow of the moon did not provide enough light for their games. All of the fruit trees, the corn, and the other vegetation began to die in their collective grief, okay? They just felt weak with hunger. And then they started chanting, Niami, Niami, we're so sorry for what we've done. We have destroyed our gift of the sun. Oh, how can our mistake be undone? They waited for Niami to answer. They could feel Niami's presence, but they did not hear Niami's voice. So the Magpies just sat and cried. When are we gonna get the sun back? Finally, Niami spoke, and Niami said, my children, I forgive you all, and I see that you have learned your lesson. I made no mistakes creating you all with your different skin tones, hair textures, and features. You all are equal in your power, but distinct in your gifts. So don't you ever, ever destroy your own gift because you covet someone else's. Goodbye, and I love you all. Niami's voice faded, and at that moment, Sunne's spirally twist grew back, and the sun reappeared. Sunne felt alive and powerful again, and the Magpies jumped up and down with glee, thanking Niami. The Magpies then walked back to the river to look at themselves again. Sunne admired the beauty reflected, and Sunne said, I should not have destroyed my hair. My lovely spirals are what make me special, and what makes me special makes me great. Earth Day, Water Day, and Wind Day agreed, and then all the Magpies sang, Sunne is beautiful, Sunne is beautiful, we can't deny, we can't deny. In Sunne's here, sun's power lies, sun's power lies. We are all special, in our own way, in our own way. We should celebrate each other, we should celebrate each other every day. Every day. And the 4 Magpies lived happily ever after until the next episode, which is the book Earth Day's Gift. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Wow. That was amazing. That was really amazing. I felt like I was watching a one-person play on Broadway.
Thank you.
That was worthy of a Tony Award if I ever saw one. So compelling.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Touching, really fantastic. So Amma, we have a number of questions that some of the participants emailed us about in advance. And we'd love to ask you some questions. Hope you have a few minutes to answer some of them.
Absolutely.
So the first question is probably something that I'm most interested in off the bat is, you're so talented, so intelligent, so skilled in all of your degrees and everything. What made you want to become an author?
Oh my goodness. So I really do believe that it is a calling. So to tell you the truth, if you had known me, and I see one of my like middle school friends, Daphne, on the line here. If you had known me in middle school, at junior high school 231, I don't think anyone would have thought, I would have been an author. I was on moot trial competition, going to like Lake George and going upstate to do moot court and whatnot. And so I really did go the very traditional route. But I have to admit that there were whispers. It wasn't like a strong call. It was like a whisper. You should write books, Amma. You should write books. And I remember when my first child was born, his name is Jojo, I went and bought every Berenstain Bears book I could find. And I remember I kept on thinking, you should write books. You should write books. It was just like like many of you have dreams that are like whispers, It's just like this little voice that's telling you something. And you're going about your business, living your life, not listening to that little voice that's actually giving you a hint. And so that's how I was until I had a really terrible experience, which basically someone called my big son a rude word based on his hair. And it really made me stop and say, wow, you know, it is great and it is meaningful to write prospectuses for my corporations, because that's the type of work I did. I wrote these documents for all the kids. When someone buys a bond, it's like an IOU, you have to tell them all the information. So this bond is going to pay 5% every year until 2050, and there's all this information you have to put in it. That was the work I was doing, putting in that information. But when I had that experience in which someone referred to my child as a mean name, it really caused me to think, Amma, shouldn't you be speaking out on these issues? Shouldn't you be doing something more? And that more wound up being writing about it, because I read a book that said, if you ever want to teach a person a lesson, you should do it through a story. So I could tell all of you who are attending, and I'm so grateful for all of you who are attending, that it's good to love yourself. I could say that to you, but I don't think that it would be as impactful as telling you this whole story about someone who had a moment of not loving and appreciating their gift, and it literally causing a catastrophe. Wow. I think that is more powerful than me just saying, you should love yourself and you should respect others. I think and so when I read that advice that I should write a story, that's what compelled me to become an author.
So the inspiration for what was the inspiration for the characters?
Thank you. So this is very interesting. So when I was trying to think of basically a way to teach this lesson that all hair types are valid, all skin types are valid, all brain types are valid, because they're a part of this mosaic of the world, this tapestry that makes the world beautiful. There was no better analogy that I could think of than photosynthesis and the way that all of these different elements come together for us to be able to live our lives. The way the sun's rays create energy, and that energy is taken in by the plants, and the plant is growing from the soil and taking nutrients, and carbon dioxide and oxygen are all coming in with water. Like, to me, the natural world, the environment, is the best teacher about the way that our world is and the way that the world should be. And so when I thought of this, idea of, this type of hair grows toward the sun, I then built this metaphor, and that was the inspiration. So the characters are all named after those elements: sun, earth, water, and wind.
So I understand that inspiration. So, I mean, it's almost like an artist who writes music or something. It comes to you, and then it just comes out. It's like, it flows, naturally it flows from you. So that's really, how long did it take you to write this particular book?
It didn't take me long. So, basically the inspiration came to me, like the idea of, hair growing toward the sun. That inspiration came. I do something called transcendental meditation. My practice isn't as solid as it should be. People are supposed to do it 2 times a day. Most often I do it 1 time a day, but it's like 20 minutes of silence in which you repeat a word that the transcendental meditation expert gives you. So I repeat that word for 20 minutes. And so very often before I write, I do that meditation. And when I did that meditation, the basic outline of the story came to me. Hair grows toward the sun disappears when the person destroys their hair. And so, and I realized that it taught that message that all of us need to be our unique selves, because if you look at the story, when Sunne destroyed Sunne's hair and the sun was gone, the earth was intact, the water was intact, the wind was intact. But if just one of us is not intact and not whole and not loving ourselves, everything falls apart. So that was inspiration. I could say maybe it took me, I don't know, an hour, to write the story, just to write, the outline. Wow. And to have like the basics. Of course, it takes such a long time to edit it, go over it, etc. But like in terms of the initial story, could have just taken me, an hour.
So now, when did you write this? How many years ago would you say?
So I wrote this in 2013, and then it was published in 2014.
So it's an amazing story, and how relevant it is to today.
I think that I pray that it's always going to be relevant. So when I was collecting Berenstain Bears' book, I was also collecting Aesop's fables. I really am a fan of Aesop's fables, and I was reading them to my kids all the time. And I just feel as if, those lessons are classics. Like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, don't lie and say something, because when it really is true, no one will believe you. That's a lesson that will always be relevant. So my prayer was that this lesson of self-love and loving others will always be relevant.
So Sunne's gift encourages individuality. How does one today balance his or her or their unique individuality in a society that's structured by rules, laws, and expected societal norms?
I love that question. I think that we always have to have a balance with respect to the two messages, because one message is, love yourself, respect yourself, honor what's unique. But another message is honor other people, right? And make sure that you also recognize that they too have gifts to share and they too are unique. So that's really the guiding ethos that has to guide us. So a person can say, I'm unique, I really don't like masks, they're uncomfortable for me, and so I don't want to wear a mask. But that's not necessarily respecting others who have a right to be safe from this deadly pandemic which is going on. So we always have to make sure that we are looking at it from both perspectives. How am I honoring myself while honoring others? And so that's basically how we weigh it.
And you could
making sure.
And you could balance your individuality and at the same time do good in the world.
Absolutely
honor your individuality, but you do good things in the world to make the world a better place.
Thank you, because we recognize everyone else has their individuality, everyone else has their gifts, so we have to honor that in them. We can't just say, oh, my gift is that I get everything I want, and so I destroy other people in the process. That's not it. You have to honor yourself and honor others.
Okay, so what are the subjects of Sunne's gift doing now?
Oh, I love it. So Sunne's Gift is a series, which I kind of gave you a little hint of it. So this is the next part of the series, Earth Day's Gift. And so the idea is that all of us have challenges with respect to manifesting our gift and living up to our true potential. So for Sunne, the challenge was bullying. This idea that people were telling Sunne negative things about Sunne's own self. Earth Day's challenge is another one that people will love. Procrastination, right? So you can have a gift, right? You can have a gift. Your gift could be that you have a beautiful singing voice, and you may not be bullied for your singing voice because people generally praise you for your singing voice. But if you procrastinate and you don't do the work of engaging in the vocal training there are like regimens for people who are good singers. Like some of them don't drink coffee or tea. They drink a lot of water. They engage in vocal exercises. You have to engage in the work of bringing your gift to manifest. And in this book, Earth Day struggles with that. So days are going by and Earth Day's not putting nutrients into the soil. And like most things, as you know, legislator, maybe one day you get away with not practicing and everything is fine. Second day, everything is fine. But eventually, it catches up to you. And so that's what happens in the second book. And so Wartre's gift and Wenday's gift are soon coming as well. So you'll be able to follow the characters.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. Do you see yourself, though, as an author who will educate only children?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that, because I perform this story for adults. I do it in diversity training for adults. I've done it at old folks home, Park Slope Center for the aging. I do it for old people. I think that, and this is a very beautiful, interesting thing. The children sometimes are even more insightful than the adults.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised. I do this for CEOs and law firm partners. And sometimes it is like the little 4-year-old who really made the comment that was like the most insightful, to tell you the truth. And so I believe it's a message for all ages, and it's a message that needs to be reinforced. The journey of self-love is not a one-day journey. It's not like, oh, I love myself and I love everyone and it's done. No. We're constantly having to cultivate that. I personally wrote the book, and I have to remind myself at every juncture in life, Alma, be true to yourself and be true to your gifts. Alma, you are special. Alma, I have to continue to affirm myself, and I have to continue to affirm others. So I believe that it's a lesson for people of all ages, and it's a lesson like we should be reminding ourselves consistently.
I think every single parent should be reciting that mantra every single day to their children.
Absolutely.
Honor yourself. Believe in yourself. Feel great about yourself. I mean, the individuality is what makes us different. That diversity makes us richer in so many ways. And that's what, I imagine in my lifetime, that's been a struggle. You have to evolve as a person You have to evolve as a community, as a society, where people are not afraid to honor themselves and exercise their individuality. So I applaud any efforts that are made in that regard.
Thank you so much.
I think that's what you do in this book. What are some of the challenges that writers face in publishing and writing books like this and getting it out there? And what advice do you have for other writers?
It is exceedingly challenging sometimes, unfortunately. So I think that, the greatest challenge, well, there are multiple challenges. Clearly, when you haven't done something before, now I've written a few books, so it's more comfortable, but starting out, people don't know where to start. So people are constantly calling me. I also want a text message right now because she texted me to say she wanted help and she just wanted to be pointed in the right direction. So in the beginning of the process, very often you're just overwhelmed with how to start. You have this idea. The idea it's been growing inside you. You've been thinking about it for so long, but there are many battles in terms of your trepidation and your fear. You're like, oh, but maybe this isn't good. Maybe it's not worth it, etc. Also time. You're like, when are you actually going to sit down and devote the time to put the ideas into reality, get them on a Word document in your computer and have it in a tangible form? So you're facing just fear in general. You're facing time constraints, believing you're too busy to actually get around to doing it. You're also facing the challenge of not knowing where to start, how to get an illustrator, how to get a graphic designer, how to publish it. Additionally, for people who want to go the traditional route, sometimes, you may submit a very amazing work to a publisher and the publisher doesn't see the value in it. I mean, even like wonderful series like Harry Potter and whatnot were rejected time and time again. Chicken Soup for the Soul, rejected time and time again. Dealing with rejection is not easy, right? It's not. So dealing with that, there's so many issues. So I think really what has to really guide you in getting through that is really being confident to the mission and really being, I would say, subservient to the mission. This is an idea that has to get out. This is a story that has to get out, and really letting that be your guide and letting that push you and fulfill you. And there are so many resources out there. I mean, you can do YouTube videos when you're self-publishing. There's Ingram, there's Create Space, there's Author House. Now they are our resources. So once you make the commitment, it can happen. And then after that, I think the challenge is really marketing it. I mean, I think my book is great. I thank God. I'm very grateful that other people have supported it. I see some of the principals that I work with on the line and the Huntington Arts Council. I see, Miss Grant Robbins. I see all these wonderful people here who have supported the work. But it's not easy. It's not easy to also make a living off of it too. So because you have to market it, and if you're not with Scholastic or Simon and Schuster and big publishers, sometimes it's hard to get that volume up. So you would feel discouraged.
So I think that
challenges.
I think that you raise a great point, because it's almost like a double-edged sword. You achieve a level of success and you want to keep that success going. So you're caught in a dilemma. Do I try to be more original in my thoughts and my writing, or do I want to just write and deliver what my publishers want or what my readers really expect? Or can I push the envelope a little bit further out there because that's what I believe in? Or do you want to take away that's going to guarantee you
income,
success and income like you talk about? So it's a double-edged sword for someone like yourself or other would-be authors who achieve success in the beginning, want to keep it going, but they have to be individuals, and they have to honor their individuality and their particular talent and skills.
Absolutely. I mean, it is certainly a balancing act. And I think the point that you made in terms of balancing what you want to give versus what other people are willing to purchase. I remember early on in the process, I went to really major publisher, and the publisher really did not like the story at all. The publisher the editor did not like the story at all. And the editor actually said to me, she didn't understand it. She said she didn't understand why I took time to describe the characters. She said that I was wasting time in the book by describing the characters. No one should care how they look like. They should just care what they do. And it was helpful because After she told me that, I added the part of them doing dances to make the sun rise and set and put nutrients into the soil, etc. But it was clear from her reading of it, and this was a major editor, that she didn't understand the message, that I wanted to describe the characters, because the whole goal was saying that they looked like their elements and they were supposed to look the way that they did. And this editor did not get it. So you're going to be up against that. Like, if I had listened to all that the editor told me, the story would have been completely different. Yeah. As you're saying, it really, like, literally, and it would have lost meaning, because there are other people who read it and they get it. They struggle. Like, I might have Jewish girlfriends with that curly hair, and they're like, Amma, you're telling my story, sis. You're telling my story. Like, I've spoken to other girls, other women, other men, whatever it is, that they completely get it. It may be because of hair. It could be, people told them that their nose, like they had a type of a Cher nose. I think Cher is beautiful, but apparently some people complain about Cher's nose. So people experience all of these things, and those people get it. They read it and they say, I know why you're describing the characters. But this particular editor didn't, and it would have gone in a whole other direction had I listened to her.
Well, I think, I have legal training just like yourself. And one of the things we learn in our legal training is you must establish a foundation for things. You establish a foundation for legal arguments. And in your case, you need to establish a foundation for these characters. So I don't know how you could present a book like this and not have the foundation for these characters, which is so instrumental and so important. And children probably pick up on that and depend upon it. They rely upon you being able to build and draw a foundation. So I don't understand how this is, like you said before, children get it more than adults do sometimes, right?
You're 100% right. I remember I went to a school and I performed it, and this little girl must have been like in 4th grade, and she said, the lesson I learned from this story is that I'm beautiful, and the world tries to sell me all these things and say, I need this and that and that and that. I need to buy this and that to be beautiful. But the message of your story is I'm beautiful already, and I don't need to buy any of that stuff. I mean, this was like a little kid. She got what that big time editor did not. She really, so you're 100% right.
Wow. So we can expect to see those other books shortly?
Absolutely. You're going to see the whole set very, very shortly. And I'm very excited for people to follow all of the characters and all of their challenges, because we all have beautiful gifts and all of us have different challenges in expressing that. And that's really what it's about. That social emotional learning, that first of all, if we get all kids to believe I'm gifted, I'm brilliant, I have wonderful talents to share. And then if we get them to take that second step of doing the work, to make sure that they get it done, and then to just give you a preview of Wartray's gift. Wartray experiences a setback, and a setback for Wartray means there's a drought. And we have to see how Wartray gets over the drought in having that setback. So we all have to also learn that there are setbacks that we experience in life, but we have to get back up and continue to move.
So, I mean, what's amazing to me is that your message that you give in this book is the same message you would give to a room full of adults and CEOs if you were talking to them, right?
100%, 100%.
Right? You have to talk to them about honoring themselves, but being mindful and respectful of others. Isn't that what you would say to adults in a room?
100%, 100%.
Yeah. Lauren, Crystal, do we have any other questions from the audience that want to either raise it on chat or have conveyed it to you by any chance?
So on my end, I'm not seeing any further questions. I think that we've covered them all. I'm just going to take a quick moment to double check and pause and to look at the chat again. Okay. I think we got the one in the chat. So I think we're covered on my end.
I just want to have a reminder to everyone, because it is somewhat related to this. I want to invite everyone to join me on Tuesday, September 22nd at 7 p.m. as we have another webinar called How to Have Better Conversations About Race, featuring panelists Retha Fernandez, former project director of the State of Black Long Island Equity Council, Teresa Sanders, president of the Urban League, Long Island, Renee Flagler, executive director of Girls Inc. of Long Island, and Dan Lloyd, founder and president of Minority Millennials. This is also destined to be a wonderful, wonderful webinar, informative, interesting, with really rock stars in our community. So I hope everyone can join us for that too.
Absolutely. I just wanted to add one thing. So I see that F Canada asked, how long did it take me to write the informative and interesting book? Thank you. So it may have only taken me an hour to write, but I would say it took a whole year for it to go from writing it and that first draft to this, final book and the book being published. That took a whole year because it included the editing process. It included me searching for an illustrator. The illustrator that I finally had, who I think did a great job, because when I go to schools, I say, which character is this? And before they read it, they say, that's the sun character. And I say, who's this? And they say, that's the earth character, and so forth and so on. And they're able to guess this is water and this is wind. But that was a process. I mean, I went through one person who didn't want to do it at, my price range. I went to another person who did a mock-up and it didn't match my vision. Then I had a third person. So then that person had to illustrate all of it. And I had to approve every single sketch. So the person did a sketch, I crossed things out. I'd say, no, I need this. I need it to be bigger. I need it to be smaller. I need you to add freckles. I need you to that took a while. And then after that, we had to work with the graphic designer to figure out the layout and the dimensions of the book. And in my case, I did a Kickstarter and raised $12,000 for the initial print run of 3,000 books. That was 45 days of me begging and pleading and asking people and writing articles and publishing articles to gain support for people to pre-order those books. And with the pre-order money, I was able to send the book to the printer, and the printer printed the first 3,000. So all of that took almost a year. And I mean, recently, my most recent book, The Talk, A Black Family's Conversation About Racism and Brutality, that book is very centered in this moment, and it only took me 2 months. So I say that to say, you get better at it and you find ways of getting more efficient. But the first time, it took a year, even though writing the initial, I would say skeleton of the book only took about an hour.
Wow. And you mentioned your illustrator. I think your illustrator was able to capture not just the individuality with hair, but with facial composition, certain features, facial features that made them different from one another. And thereby you're capturing the different ethnicities and racial differences amongst people too, not just whether it's black or white. Absolutely.
I think he did a fantastic job of that.
Yeah, because you're able to look at someone's face and say, okay, they're neither African American, they're not white, they're not, there's just differences. And that's what he was able to capture. And again, what that does is it taps into the individuality, which was fantastic.
And I love it because also he made them human, but not human. And that was something that some of the other illustrators, I wanted them to seem a bit familiar because they kind of look like human beings, but I didn't want them to be completely human because, they're supposed to be from this other world, this other planet, etc. And so balancing the, human aspects versus the otherworldly Avatar-esque type look, that took time. And so that process, it took time. But at the end, I was, exceedingly happy. I really am very grateful to the illustrator, Rashad Malik Davis. He went to Tufts with my little sister. That's how I wound up getting to know him. So, he came out of that network and he did a phenomenal job. But getting the characters just right definitely took time.
Fantastic. So anyone else have any other questions? People say this was great. Thank you, Alma. So proud to have been a part of this and the Hicksville Congress of Teachers from Allison Silvestri. Where can we sign up for the next week? So registration details for the guided virtual discussion for parents, families, and communities will be made available on social media. So that will be easy. So Mark Cortade, as always, Alma, you were so well spoken. The conversation is as enjoyable as the storytelling. Thank you so much. So I think this was great. I am just so honored to have had you on this show. Amr, I can't wait to have you again and have you read the successive stories of the characters, because it's really like watching a show on TV and you're waiting for the next episode. So we can't wait. I want to thank you so much. Although here I see one final question from Lakeisha Chase. What is your favorite book?
Oh, wow. Oh my God, Caleb, thank you for your question. Caleb, oh my, that is a hard one. Oh my goodness. What is my favorite book? It's so hard. Like, I can't, like, they're different categories. Like, oh goodness.
Doesn't have to be a favorite.
So like one of my favorite, like, fables, because this, you know, these are like fables, is, I'll do like my favorite Aesop's fable is a fable that's really interesting. It's called The Wolf and the Dog. And in the fable, basically, if you all know, wolves and dogs are related. And so a wolf goes to visit his dog cousin, right? Because they're cousins, and it sees him, and the dog is like, the dog is like, why are you so lean, wolf cousin? You look so lean. You're living that rough life. At my master's house, I'm eating great food. I'm getting fed 3 times a day. You need to convert and be like us dogs. Why are you looking so haggard? And then the wolf notices that the dog's skin or fur is like, the fur is like fading over here. And the wolf says, but what's that thing on your neck? And the dog goes, oh, that's from my collar. And the wolf said, I'd rather have poverty. I'd rather have poverty in freedom than wealth in subservience.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't that a powerful story? So that's like my favorite Aesop's fable. I think that's really powerful. There's another book by Michael Wynn called The Eagles Who Thought They Were Chicken. That's like a very culturally responsive fable about eagle eggs that are placed in a chicken coop, and they grow up thinking that they're like weird versions of chicken until another eagle comes and tells them who they really are and allows them to fly. That's why I perform that story. I love it because it's about this. To me, it reminds me of that Einstein phrase, like a fish will think he's an idiot if he has to walk, right? It's about like, if you're put in the wrong category, you'll think that there's something wrong with you when you're really amazing and great. And so that's like one of my favorite, like, inspirational fables. I mean, there's just so many amazing stories out there. It's so hard for me to choose, Caleb. But Caleb, we'll talk and we'll continue to trade fabulous stories.
Well, thank you again, Alma. This was wonderful. Before we leave, I just want to also remind everyone, tomorrow morning, starting at 9 o'clock, I will be conducting COVID-19 antibody testing at the Broadway Commons Mall. And any of you can come and they have the antibodies test done there, and it's covered by insurance. So I look forward to seeing as many people as possible. And I want to thank everyone for participating tonight in this fantastic experience. Again, worthy of a Tony Award. Alma, you are really an amazing talent. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you so much to all of you. Appreciate it. Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Be in touch.